You might be using TikTok to find your London travel tips, and you wouldn't be alone because reportedly TikTok has overtaken Google for being the place that people go to find travel advice. But I have seen some really bad advice on that app, and after watching Honest Guide's video roasting bad TikTok advice about Prague, I thought, why don't I do that for London to make sure that none of that ruins your trip? So let's dive into it.
How to get from London Heathrow to the city center using public transportation. After clearing customs, look for the blue signage that says trains, and you're going to be looking for the Elizabeth line specifically.
Okay, hold up. The Elizabeth line is not the only option when it comes to getting from Heathrow Airport into the city center. And hopefully a lot of you already know that because you watched my video about your transport options for getting from Heathrow into the city center. Watch that after if you haven't. But to present this as the best and only option is ultimately wrong because it very much depends on where your hotel is. Like, if your hotel is near Earl's Court, you can actually just hop right onto the Piccadilly line and take it straight to Earl's Court station and be there in about 50 minutes. But if you listen to this advice, you'd get on the Elizabeth line, get to Paddington Station, then you'd have to drag all of your stuff through the massive station. It takes like 5 minutes to get to the District line. Then you'd have to get on the District line and go 4 stops to Earl's Court. And why would you add all that extra hassle? You can very easily figure out which transport option is best for you depending on where your hotel is by pulling up Google Maps or downloading the City Mapper app and plugging in Heathrow and your hotel, and then adjust for the time of day that you're going to be arriving to Heathrow Airport, and that will give you all of your best options. I would also recommend you choose routes that are step-free if you're going to have a lot of bags with you, so you can make sure you're only using stations that have lifts or elevators. Not or elevators, I mean lifts are elevators, but okay, you get it.
We got off at the Piccadilly stop because that's where our hotel was located.
There is no Piccadilly stop on the Elizabeth line. There is on the Piccadilly line. So I don't know what she's talking about. But this is a really good example of why you need to be careful of listening to tips from people who don't actually live in the city because they often don't really know what they're talking about.
Take the Heathrow Express to Paddington Station and start your trip from there. Get your taxi from there. It's £20, and you can also purchase a return ticket if you know that's how you're going to be heading back.
Okay, this is along the same lines, but this is actually even worse advice. And that's because the Heathrow Express is a really expensive option. It's actually not £20. If you don't buy ahead of time, it can be £25 one way. If you book your tickets 45 days or more in advance, then you can usually find tickets that are only £10 one way. But again, same advice stands. The Heathrow Express, which goes into Paddington Station, may not make sense for where you're going to be staying. Again, use Google Maps or City Mapper to work out what's best for you. And don't waste £25. It's a lot of money.
If you are traveling to the UK and you don't have children, do not come in July or August because it's just rammed full of people.
This is bad advice depending on what type of traveler that you are. If you are the type that only wants to go to the major touristy areas, so that's like Covent Garden, South Bank, Westminster, Camden, then yes, it's very crowded, and I do actually agree with this advice. If you can avoid going in the summer, you will have less crowds. But if you're happy to get off the beaten path and explore more local areas, so that would be like Hampstead, Notting Hill, Broadway Market, King's Cross, there's a lot. Those areas are actually not as busy in the summer, and that's because most tourists don't end up making it to them. And because it's mostly locals that are in that area, a lot of locals travel in the summer. So actually they can feel a little bit quieter than usual. So if you're that type of traveler, summer is actually a great time to come because it will be a little bit quieter and you'll enjoy these more local parts of London.
Best times to come, May, June and September. If you do have kids and you have to come in the holidays, try and come at the beginning or the end of the holidays. Don't come slap bang in the middle.
So I mostly agree with the dates that he's given. I would say actually April's a great time to come, September, October's a great time to come. And if you have kids who are in school with you, I know that makes it more difficult, but if you can push it as far to like the outer edges of when the school holidays are, the better.
London is a mess, and trying to get to all the tourist attractions in the summer is almost impossible.
I do agree with that actually. If you do want to do the tourist attractions in the summer, make sure you give yourself a lot of time to navigate around because of the crowds and also because there'll just be a lot more people in a lot of the attractions once you actually get inside. Okay, so that's maybe not that bad of advice.
I hate to say it, but if you're headed to London and don't visit this neighborhood, you've wasted your trip.
No, you have not wasted your trip.
This area is packed with the coolest street art you'll ever see, winding canals, a lively food market, and an incredible city view that'll leave you speechless.
So the street art she's talking about and showing, Camden does have good street art. It is usually off of the side streets in Camden, but she's showing street art that is on Camden High Street, and it's basically just big corporations that have shops there, and then they decorate the building and try to, because they like want to seem cool.
Start by taking the tube to Camden Town. The moment you step out, you'll be surrounded by some of the most amazing street art and loads of quirky souvenir shops.
So the street art that she's showing, a lot of it is just kind of like some not so nice stuff that gets sold in the souvenir shops. And the souvenir shops she's talking about, for the most part, are selling absolute crap. Like, it's just tat, as they would say here in the UK, just rubbish, plastic crap. There's a lot of vapes as well. I don't know what the deal is with like having to have every color vape in your shop. The stuff that these places are selling is like the cheap crap that you'll find at many other cities around the world.
From there, head to the picturesque canal. It's the perfect spot to snap some photos and soak in the vibe.
So the canal is really nice, but if you want to get photos without millions of people in them and it's the summertime, you're gonna want to get there probably before 9 a.m., 10 a.m. because it gets really busy. What I would suggest instead, if you want to go around midday, is that you go on Regent's Canal and head towards King's Cross, and you'll very quickly get to a part of the canal where it's a lot quieter and you'll be able to take some nice photos. And actually, the route that I give you on day 5 of my London itinerary takes you from Hampstead down to Camden and then shows you exactly how to go from Camden to King's Cross on a really beautiful canal walk. So you don't have to figure all of this out on your own. I've already done it for you, and I've even plotted it on the digital map that comes with all of my itineraries. If you're overwhelmed with trying to create a plan for each day of your London trip, and you want to make sure you experience as much of this amazing city as you can, grab one of my London itineraries, which has over 160 5-star reviews, and even includes helpful extras like the toilet guide. So no matter where you are along each day's route, as soon as you need a loo, I will tell you exactly where to go via the digital map. It's actually the thing that people always talk about that they love of my itineraries, and I'm like, that's because I made it because it's something I would use, and everyone else needs it apparently too. To find out more about my London itineraries, scan the QR code here or click the link down in the description box of this video.
Then dive into Camden Market. Honestly, I think it beats even the famous Borough Market. Don't miss out on Asador, funky chips, crumble, and the famous viral chocolate-covered strawberries.
So you might have figured out / already know that I'm not a big fan of Camden Market. It's just a lot of stalls selling really plasticky, cheap stuff, and also a lot of the food vendors are not very good. So it's never the place that I tell people to go if they want to have lots of really good street food. However, I do like that she's recommended funky chips and humble crumble. Those are both good, and we actually tried funky chips in my testing London's most viral foods video. So if you want to see that full review and see what we got, go have a watch of that. This is a joke, this one, right? This will be a joke when it's gonna be like leave. And that's one of the 5 things that you do in Leicester Square. No, this must be a joke. You wouldn't actually tell people when they come to London to go to M&M's World, right? Like, it's a joke. I think it's a joke. Yeah, I would actually agree. Go over to Chinatown. In my opinion, Chinatown is not in Leicester Square. So you're telling people to go to Leicester Square and then to Chinatown, but at least that's a good option. I still can't read this. Okay, it's not a joke. It's actually telling you 5 things to do in Leicester Square. I'll tell you what you shouldn't do, and you shouldn't go to Leicester Square. It's literally the worst place in London. Like, if you've been around for a while, you know that I hate this place. Alternatives, literally anywhere else? Like, literally anywhere else? I would say Chinatown is a good alternative. It is right next door. There's lots of places to have some good food and to walk around and explore. But please, for the love of God, stay away from Leicester Square unless you like want Burger King or souvenir shops that sell like the most random stuff in the world.
Visiting London, you need to try a hop-on, hop-off bus. This shit is fantastic. You just jump on, go around, visit all London's hot spots, take a look at the art, the architecture, all the beautiful stuff. We rolled over heaps of bridges. Here's the London Eye.
Okay, so terrific, I think, is a generous term for this. The thing with these hop-on, hop-off bus tours, what they don't show you in videos like this, it looks like it's like moving really fast and you're just like flying past all of these like major sites, but actually a lot of times they get stuck in traffic. So you could actually be stuck on one of the buses for quite a while, just like at a standstill. And that could be in the rain, at the top when it's open, or it could be in the blistering sun. So I don't necessarily recommend these. I do think that they are good if you have one day in the city and you basically just want to go past all of the major sites. You won't have time to get on and off for all of them, but you can take a bus past them. Or if you have somebody in your group that has limited mobility, this is also a great option. But otherwise, I think there's lots of other ways that you can get around and see the sites. First of all, we have obviously really good public transport. We even have public buses that are way cheaper that you can go onto the top deck and use that as a chance to sightsee as you get between places. Also, the walking around the city is doable. And another alternative that I personally prefer is to go on one of the sightseeing cruises, like one of the ones that City Cruises does. You get onto the top deck of the boat, you get to sit and relax in the breeze as you float down the River Thames. There's usually somebody who's doing commentary and they end up doing like quite funny commentary. And you can see a lot of the major sights from the skyline from the river. Plus there's no traffic.
You're in Camden Market looking for the ultimate souvenir store. Let me show you just where to find it.
Well, if it's in Camden, I can almost guarantee it's not going to be that unique or cool, but let's see.
Just to your right, you'll find Little Britannia with all types of bucket hats.
Honest question. If you are the type of person that would buy one of these bucket hats, where do you see yourself wearing this? I just genuinely want to know, where would you wear this? In what situation would you be like, yeah, this is the day, this is the time where that bucket hat I got in Camden Market that is covered in the word London and Union Jacks. This is the time to wear this and I'm gonna feel good about it. Just tell me in the comments. I'm happy to be proved wrong. I don't think that anyone out there does have an answer to this, but if you do, please tell me.
Taylor Swift, One Direction, and London tote bags. All types of Paddington bears. Things for your newborn baby.
Imagine that your sister went on the trip of a lifetime to London and you're stuck at home with a newborn baby and all she comes back with for you is this cheap onesie that says, I love my aunt. I would disown her. It's not okay.
Every souvenir and accessory you could possibly imagine. And how can we forget the London hoodies?
Please forget those London hoodies. They scream, pickpocket me. I'm sorry, they do. That's the truth. So this stall is trying to look like it's like an independent seller and like this cute little souvenir shop, but it's actually part of a larger brand that sells souvenirs that are the type that you need to get something for someone back at home, but you don't really feel like putting any effort in to find something nice for them, and you don't really want to spend any money, and you don't really care if they put it in the bin like 2 days later. So you go into their main shop, which is full of tacky stuff and right in the heart of Piccadilly Circus, and that's where you go to get that kind of stuff. So buying from here is you're not really getting unique stuff, and it's also not supporting like a small business or anything like that. And the thing is, there are so many amazing souvenirs that you can get in London that are unique, that people and yourself will actually use when you get home, and that help to support small independent artists and businesses. And I gave you lots of ideas for them in my video about amazing souvenirs to get while you're in London. So that's yet another video I'm telling you to go watch after this one. Just keep watching, just cycle through them all. These are not antiques. This shop is on Portobello Road, and I would hope that most people would go in and be able to tell that they're buying stuff that is not antiques, but that is just like mass produced in probably China and is sold in every city around the world, and that you could easily find on like Wish or Temu. Maybe one or two things in this shop are antiques, but you're not getting anything special here. In fact, most of the places that are on Portobello Road or in Portobello Road Market are doing a similar thing where they're saying this stuff is antiques, but it's not actually, it's like newly produced. If you do want actual antiques, I recommend going north on Portobello Road. The more north you get, the more interesting that the sellers in the market and the shops get. And then once you get to Goulbourn Road, that is the place for antique shopping. They have multiple brick and mortar stores with really good antiques of every price range you could imagine. They also usually have a few sellers that pop up on the street that are selling things as well. So I'd recommend going there.
Must do things in London. Madame Tussauds must be on your list.
No, it doesn't have to be on your list. I would say it must be on your things to actively avoid at all costs list. Your list of things to not waste your hard-earned money on. That's the list it should be on. Don't understand people that come to London and then they go to look at some creepy wax figures.
And I know they have them all over the world, but in my opinion, this is my absolute favourite one. And it has a hidden surprise inside it, so wait until the end of the video to find out what that is.
Well, I can barely do another 15 seconds of this video, let alone another almost 2 minutes. So I'll just tell you, probably what she's talking about is the black cab ride that is in Madame Tussauds, which I would say is the best part of it. However, the bar is low.
Pete and I went back in September and it was really busy, so just prepare for that. You'll have to queue for all of the waxworks. But they had lots of modern ones like Cara Delevingne and Timothée Chalamet, as well as people like the Beckhams, Doctor Who, and even Enola Holmes.
Okay, you've lost me. I can't really think of an alternative to Madame Tussauds because thankfully there aren't really other things like it in London. Maybe Shrek's Great Adventure, but I wouldn't recommend you go to that either. So just do anything else but this. Anything else. Before I start this video, the cover says, "Best roast dinner?" Okay.
Come with me for the first time ever to Toby Carvery. Seriously, I've lived in London my whole entire life and I've never been to Toby Carvery. God knows why not.
Honestly, girl, I think you were doing well to never have gone. You probably should have kept that going. Now for the non-English. Toby Carvery is essentially the Pizza Hut of English Sunday roasts. And if you don't know what a Sunday roast is, it is essentially this tradition that is here in the UK where you go with your family and friends to the pub and you order your choice of roast. It's usually a meat. So you could choose from like chicken, beef, lamb, various others, veggie or vegan if they have those options. And then with your meat comes a bunch of roast things like roast potatoes, roast vegetables, and sometimes there's something called a Yorkshire pudding. Now, if you're in London, we have thousands of pubs that offer Sunday roasts, many of which do a pretty decent one, and there is a range of price points for it. So going to Toby Carvery for a Sunday roast is basically like going to New York City and going to Sbarro's for a slice of New York pizza.
This is apparently one of the best roasts you can ever get and it's bottomless. I mean, this is a bit ridiculous.
Have I tried Toby Carvery's Sunday roast? I have not. I really, really don't want to. That's why. But I can guarantee this is not the best roast in all of London. And I don't really care that it's bottomless because you get so much food with a normal Sunday roast as it is. You don't really need bottomless.
Can we just take a look at that meat? They had all the meats, gammon, lamb, beef, sausages, turkey. I of course went for loads of turkey because I love a Christmas dinner.
I can just imagine how dry that turkey is from sitting out under the heat lamps for God knows how long.
My husband, on the other hand, went for all the red meat, so he had the lamb and the beef. By the way, this is the sides and this is his plate. I kid you not, he actually finished that.
The thing is, a lot of Sunday roasts, when you go, will actually give you a plate that is almost filled up like that. It's not quite that much food, but it's not that far off. So it's not like you get skimped if you go to a regular place.
I feel like I need to educate myself with like buffets because I only went up once and I should have been able to at least go up 3 times. Pace yourself.
Okay, I've seen enough. don't go to Toby Carvery. Now, where's good? So the thing about Sunday roast is that you actually don't have to travel very far to find a pub that has good Sunday roast. Generally, how us Londoners do it is we would go to just our local pub, one that we know that we like, and most people wouldn't like travel across the city to go to one specific pub. So you really don't need to do that either. You can find one that's near your hotel or in the area you're gonna be exploring at the time of like 2-ish, 3-ish when you'd go for Sunday roast. Now I have lots of pubs that I recommend that do a really good Sunday roast in my London itineraries and my other travel guides, but I will give you a couple that I have been loving recently. There's the Windmill, that's in Clapham, the Windsor Castle, that's in Notting Hill, and the Skull's Head, which is in de Beauvoir. By the way, if you're planning on booking an afternoon tea when you're in London, I have tested and reviewed the afternoon teas that are the most popular with tourists and that they end up booking to let you know if it's actually worth your time and also your money, because these are not cheap. I put it all into the YouTube video that is popping up right next to me, so make sure you go and watch that next and find out which afternoon tea you should or shouldn't book when you're in London. And I'll see you in the next video.